Hi. So today I want to talk about something that happened to me pretty recently in Japan. And now I've gone through like periods of being broke and not being broke, depending on how much money I'm making, depending on how high my expenses are at any given moment, etc. But I just want to sort of give a warning for people who are new to Japan or maybe in their first year of living here and they're like, oh my God, the expenses are all so low. And in your first and maybe like the first half of your second year, the expenses in this country will be very low. Like your health insurance payment will be so low per month, like it'll be, probably below 20 US dollars, um or even below 2000 yen. But basically, as you're here for longer, things do start to get more expensive. And because your bills, at least the ones from the government, are generally calculated based off of last year's income, because you didn't make any income in Japan the year before you came to Japan, it's basically zero in the government's eyes. So that's why everything in the first year of living in Japan is so cheap. But I got a bit of a nasty surprise a few months ago where basically like five different bills that I wasn't expecting all sort of hit me at once. So let me explain like basically the five bills that I suddenly had to pay, which I was not expecting. Hold on, let me get a drink of water. So the first bill was health insurance. And I had already been paying health insurance, um, but my amount last year was a lot lower. It was around, I think it was 5,500 yen per month. It's actually in a 10 payments per year cycle, so a little less than that per month, but I'll just say per month for easiness's sake. You know what I mean? Okay. So it was around 5,500 yen per month, which is like literally 30 or 35 US dollars a month. Very reasonable. I still wish I was paying that much, but I am not. Um, and so for the first like 2 months of this year's billing cycle, I was still being charged 5,500 yen a month. So I was really excited because I thought that that meant that for the rest of the year, um, I'd be safe and I wouldn't have to pay a higher amount because I didn't know this, but the government can actually change your health insurance amount like halfway through the billing cycle, which I didn't know. So I was really surprised when all of a sudden my monthly health insurance payment went from 5,500 yen a month to 26,000 yen a month. Again, not a month, but 10 times a year, 26,000 10 times a year. So that's probably like 175 US dollars, something like that. Which, again, if you're an American, you're like, oh my God, that's so cheap. But for someone living in Japan, that's a pretty penny, especially because our salaries here are lower. Also, Americans, healthcare is price gouged. Not going to get into that, but I'm sure you know. So, um, yeah, so that was a big shock. And I was like, shit, well, that means like basically 20,000 yen a month of my spending money is all of a sudden gone. So great, and on top of that, around the same time, I also had to start paying pension. And I should tell you, the reason my health insurance was so low the year before is because I was actually a student last year at a language school. So, because you're a student, you get a really big break on your health insurance payment, which I think is a good thing, but I also think everyone should be required to pay less. But anyway, yeah. And also because I was a student, I got an exemption for my pension payment. But all of a sudden, that exemption passed its deadline. So all of a sudden, I had to pay pension, which is, I think, again, don't quote me on this, but like 17,000 yen per month ish. And pension is basically like kind of like Social Security in the United States. Like you pay a certain monthly amount, and unlike Social Security, where you pay a certain percentage of your paycheck, pension, every person, regardless of income, pays the exact same amount per month, which is that 175 or 17 thousand ish amount. And basically, if you pay into the system long enough, you get a certain amount of money per month back when you're old as like pension payments or as social security or whatever you want to call it. So that's what I'm trying to do because I think it is worth it, even though, um, it could be better, but again, it's still something, right? When I'm old and unable to work. So, yeah. So those were the first two bills. Now, the next bill that popped up is my residence tax. And again, because I was a student last year, I didn't actually have to pay residence tax. I think usually you start paying residence tax in your second year in Japan, but because I was working for a little over 6 months and then I stopped working, I became a student and then I started working again. I kind of delayed that, I'm pretty sure. But I was hit with that bill, and that bill is not cheap. That bill is around 40,000 yen, so like 300, 250, $300 four times a year. And they're not spread out evenly. It's almost like 3 months in a row, maybe 4 months in a row of paying an extra 40,000 yen. So I just finished paying the third installment of that. And so, like, for the past 3 months ish, I have been unable to save any money. And usually I can save a little bit, and I like to save, and I have savings, which is good. Um, but yeah, it's just been impossible because of that. And luckily now there's a little break. I think the next payment is not due until February, so that's good. But yeah. And on top of that, how would I say this? This isn't something that everyone has to deal with, but if you're an American who has gone to college or university or whatever you want to call it, and your parents or you, whoever, for some reason, were not able to pay off the entire tuition amount, then you know that you probably have student loans. And for a while, the student loan interest had been in forbearance, but very luckily for me, basically, the interest on my student loans started accruing around the time when I had to start paying pension and more health insurance and residence tax. So that was great. And of course, the exchange rate is not ideal. So I had to start transferring money over to pay that. Luckily, actually, my mom gave me some money as a gift. I didn't ask for it, she just did. And I was like, okay. And so I've been using some of that to pay off my student loans, and I'm only paying like $100 a month just to keep the interest from accruing and to pay a little bit of it off per month. But still, that money's not going to last forever. It's kind of almost running out. So I'm like, Jesus Christ. So in total, I think that was only four things, not five, but you get the picture. When living in Japan, you can get hit with a whole bunch of bills all at once, and you won't even know how to pay it because if you don't have savings, that's even worse. Like, it's just not a great situation. And so basically, a salary that I thought was really good and livable is now a lot tighter than it was. And so I'm trying to adjust. I'm looking at ways to save money. But it's like something to watch out for. So I guess I suggest you definitely save money when you can. I'm a very fiscally responsible queen. I love to squirrel money away. I like to invest, etc., etc., etc. Been doing it for a few years now, and I think it's worth it just to have a little thing to fall back on. And yeah, so yeah, I just suggest that you like prepare for that in however way you plan to if you're going to move to Japan, because things will not be dirt cheap forever, especially with inflation, just the rising cost of everything. In addition to all these bills that might pop up, it's really good again to save money when you can and to know that the honeymoon period is not going to last forever. So, yeah, that's about it for my financial crisis right now. If you have any questions, definitely ask them in the comments. I'm sure, like, if you're planning on moving to Japan, feel free to ask me. I'll be able to answer it to the best of my ability. But of course, I'm not like some expert on this. I might not always have the right information. But yeah, I'd love for you, or if you already live in Japan and ran into this same exact problem as I just have, then definitely give your story in the comments as well. Yeah, that is all for now, I think. So, bye.